See, now I'm fucking coughing. See what you guys did to me?
Sorry.
See? It's catching. That's our intro. Roll the music.
Step into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy, Dre. Welcome to the Fine. Welcome to the Time. Welcome to the Steve.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, boy. Yep.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Welcome to the Kevin.
Hey, fuckers.
You're looking good tonight. It sounds like a beginning to a very romantic song. Only it's called Hey Fuckers.
I've been working on the lyrics for about 3 years, but hey fuckers is all I've come up with so far.
Hey, it's tough. Not all of us can be Bernie Taupin,
I'm gonna drop the next line sometime in 2025.
Yeah, Jim Steinman, we are not. We're here. We love to video game. We got a doozy of a show here of all the news, but we got to talk about what we've been playing. I've been playing Tekken 8. I'm not really prepared to talk about it yet. Fighting games take a while to sink in, It was a while before I could talk about Street Fighter 6. I want to let that sit in the oven for a while, especially since, the reveal of that game birthed graphics on PlayStation 5 becoming a staple on this show. So I want to give that the proper due it deserves. But Kevin got a new toy, which is what I'm much more interested in right now, honestly. So why don't you talk about that, Foist?
Yeah, and I've got a lot to say, and I'm sick, so I'm going to be a little hacking through it. So strap in and feel the G's.
I'm going to AMA the hell out of you for this too. So
okay,
be prepared.
I too might have a question.
All right, I'll be responsive. I got a Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. So brief overview of what this thing is. It's a $200 American Android-based handheld. So I'm not going to go through all of the specs. It's easily available online. But to boil it down...
Oh, thank God.
Profile-wise, it's pretty similar to a slightly smaller Switch Lite. And it's kind of the first in its price point, theoretically, to be capable of doing GameCube and PlayStation 2 emulation competently without doing a bunch of hacks, going in and doing underclocking and frame skip and that kind of thing. But I'll get into what encompasses competently more in a little bit here.
So can you play like basic bitch ass computer games if you wanted? Like, let's say you downloaded something from GOG or how does it work? I'm not even sure.
I mean, it's Android based, right? So it needs to be something that has been ported for Android. You need to get a APK of whatever you want to play. So definitely GOG is out.
Okay. Gotcha.
I would have no idea how to do that as a Samsung owner. Nope. No, sir.
Never happened before. I'm an Apple here. Don't know what you're talking about.
If you scrub around the internet, you could probably find some PC ports that are not available on the Play Store. But I guess that's not what is aimed at this device.
Right.
But this was kind of special because it's the first one that's kind of considered to sit in this Goldilocks zone. So I've been keeping an eye on this Android-based emulation space for a while, and there was a device a few months before that came out. It's called the Odin 2, and so that one is similar, higher powered, but for that one, the base model sits at $300 and then kind of goes up there for spec bumps. It does have some advantages over the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Better performance, screen size, stuff like that. And I really tossed around picking one of those up. But at that price point, it gets into this weird place where it's kind of competing with the Steam Deck, which, not only would do much better emulation, all of the other shit that a Steam Deck can do as well. So I kind of fell into that line of thinking. But then I kept coming around to I can't justify the cost of a Steam Deck because primarily I would be using it as an emulation handheld. That's what I was looking for. But then I would go back to, I still can't justify picking up an Odin 2 with that logic either, because it still just doesn't really make sense to get that instead of a Steam Deck. So I've been kind of casually keeping an eye on used Steam Deck prices, and then the Retroid popped up. So that was an easy trigger pull for me.
This is a really interesting market, though. I didn't know like Android handheld devices like this existed. Honestly, this is like the first, because like when you put this in here, it's like what the fuck is a Retroid? But like I had never heard of it before. So yeah,
and it's definitely. I mean, there's overall the emulation handheld device market has been really kind of picking up steam for the last couple of years, and that's been a thing for a while. I got a device called an LDK game in probably 2018, 2019 or so. So back then you were kind of limited to like, as good as like PlayStation 1. It's only within the last couple years or so that you're actually getting dedicated handhelds that would be, really capable of Dolphin or Aether SX2, which is the PS2 emulator. Hardware-wise, the screen is exceptional. There was an issue, so if you see some review footage, the models that went out for review had a green tint on the screen, and it was quite often noted in reviews, but this was fixed with an over-the-air update prior to launch, so all of the retail units shipped with that update. Looks great. The hardware itself, it feels solid and well thought out. I know previous Retroid models used to have the start and select buttons on the top of the device, which just seems insane. But this one's got them under the right thumbstick. Everything, you've got start and select under the right thumbstick, home and back under the left thumbstick. Everything is mapped out relatively well. Feels sturdy. It's pretty comfortable to use.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not over the start and select on the top of the. That's so weird. That is so bizarre.
Yeah,
I think
I don't
like
know,
on the
man.
Joy.
Did no one test that?
Yeah, like I think on the Joy-Cons, like plus and minus are a little far up for my liking, but it's not a big deal compared to the Pro Controller. It's like whatever, right? On top of the Switch itself, I can't even imagine that.
Where the
That's
power
so
button
strange.
should be. So
I'm sure people have done that shit by accident.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of reviews that did note, that they would go and power it off trying to hit the start button. So I guess
that's ridiculous. I'm glad they fix that oversight. Anyway,
yeah. However, one other problem, the initial shipments for this came with a trigger issue. So there was a faulty spring in the triggers. And I was keeping an eye on this on Discord and Reddit. And it kind of was picking up steam and get more and more widespread. I was getting a little bit nervous. And I had my unit for just like hours over a week. And I was about 90% through playing Wind Waker, and out went my fucking spring. So they have addressed this on January 30th, so about 2 weeks after launch, and they said they'll warranty the triggers for 2 years, and in the form of shipping out a entire backplate for you to swap yourself rather than. But I mean, keeping in mind, these consoles are getting shipped straight out of China, and honestly, getting that backplate and swapping it yourself is probably preferable to trying to get it shipped back to China, get it repaired and sent back.
yeah.
However, for anybody that doesn't know about Chinese New Year's, it's 2 weeks where China is entirely shut down, more or less. And my trigger broke at about 6 a.m. on Saturday, the very first day of Chinese New Year. So I would have been at least until February 19th to even get a response from Retroid about it. And then, of course, then they've got to get it shipped out, and then, super slow shipping from China. So I was looking at weeks and weeks of waiting without this thing after having it for a week. So I wound up fixing it myself, and I was actually one of the first people to do this. I've been keeping tabs on it right in the official Discord. So I actually made a YouTube tutorial on the fix I did for that. And I got pretty good feedback for that. The reason I really wanted to bring this YouTube tutorial up is because I got a comment on there and it just said cool hairstyle. And man, that they knew where to get me in the feels. So thank you for that.
He's stunting on us, Steve.
That was the nicest thing anybody has ever said.
I think we could afford to be nice too, Andre. Kevin, how do we find this video of yours? We'll put a link to it in the show.
Yes, we'll put the link in the description so everyone would see Kevin's cool hair.
You don't need to. You don't need to listen to the video, but feel free to scrub through and see how my hair looks because apparently it looked fucking great.
I'm looking at a picture of this device right now, and I like that. The colored buttons, almost like the Super Famicom, like colored buttons, they're cluing you in like, hey, this is what you can do with this device. Kind of clever there. It looks like a pretty solid machine, though. It's kind of, I don't want to say boring looking, but like, yeah, I don't know. The D-pad looks nice. It's a nice cross and not like the little diagonal like swoops in the middle, which I don't like. And I don't know. It's cool. Yeah, I see the select and start right below that right thumbstick. That is a good place for that, guys. Yeah, I don't know. This is a pretty decent looking machine, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean there is a lot of I also, stepping back, looking at it, so talking about like defective springs in the triggers and even the build quality, it's impressive that the build quality is as good as it is because realistically, we are talking about a device from China that is purpose built to run illegally downloaded games. At face value, that is what this is. But there are touches like it's got analog triggers. They've got kind of a grip on it. There's like the logo is kind of like embossed in the plastic on the back. It's got active cooling, stuff like that. It wasn't just a fly by night thing necessarily.
Did you ever consider a ROG Ally, or was that like out of your?
Not. I mean. If I would have went that path, I probably would have done a Steam Deck. But again, I had a hard time justifying, and again, I realize there's a lot of things, you can do with the Steam Deck, but that's not, I wouldn't really utilize it for that much. I mostly wanted something to play GameCube and PlayStation 2 games on. So price wise, it just didn't make sense to extend too much.
Yeah, which I will figure out how to do on the Steam Deck. I guess I should mention that now. As of yesterday, as of this recording, I got a Steam Deck OLED. And I haven't really done a whole lot with it besides just play a couple games on Steam and accidentally launch a porn game, which I didn't mean to do yet. And
accidentally.
Well, I did. I mean, that's technically the first thing I launched on the Steam Deck. It said like download here, but it actually launched the game. I was like, oops. Anyway, so I'll be talking about that next time. So I'll be interested to like, as you talk about this device and contrast and compare notes. Obviously, they're two like very different things. And yes, I will be emulating on the Steam Deck too. That's part of the reason why I got it. So we'll have to compare.
Yeah.
But
maybe
anyway,
we can get some net play going on something that would be fun.
I wonder if that can work. Yeah, I wonder if that can work.
It's definitely doable. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into a little bit of just the emulation quality on this device. So first of all, anything like Dreamcast and under is 100% going to run fine. PlayStation Portable, N64, anything older, all of that's going to run with absolutely no issue. So getting into some of the higher end things that this will run. So GameCube, Wii, PlayStation 2, and 3DS is where we get into the weeds a little bit. So I talked about that concept of being able to run the vast majority of these libraries without a bunch of dicking around in emulator settings, and that's technically correct, but that kind of alludes to this being plug and play, and it's not. The biggest thing to be aware of is what version of these emulators you're using. So when you first boot this thing up, Retroid has pre-included versions of most of the emulators that you would be using, but almost all of these are out of date. And I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of people reviewing this thing, and actually some prominent in that space YouTubers that are definitely using out-of-date emulators because I can tell that the performance on what they're playing is janky, and I've played those same games and they've run perfect. So you have to take the time to do the initial setup properly on this and preferably go on to a video guide of somebody who actually knows what they're talking about and shows you where to get the most up-to-date emulators for everything. And that's not all just getting stuff off the Play Store either. It's kind of signing up for beta programs, side-loading software, side-loading other software that will keep side-loaded software up to date as new versions are released, stuff like that. So if you're really intent on getting something that you can just, download a bunch of ROMs, dump on here and go, I mean, it will work, but you're definitely not going to have the optimal experience that you can get out of this thing. And then on top of that, and this is actually one thing that I've spent almost the most time on, I really wanted this to feel like a consoleized experience. I did not want this thing to feel like an Android phone with buttons attached to it that just runs emulators. And you definitely can do that. You can get a good front end, that feels like a cohesive experience, but to find what you want as a front end, and they've all kind of got their own little nuances and issues with them, and to get them all set up with like the proper like scraping the box art and all of that stuff, there's some time that goes into that.
Yeah, it's good that you can even have that level of customization though, because it's like, like you said, it's your typical, think about a Raspberry Pi or something. Here's your list of ROMs or anything that we've done back in the day, right? Or it's just kind of like, it's impersonal and it's just kind of weird. And it's just like, okay, I guess I'm looking for, Jackie Chan's, super fight or something. So got to scroll all the way down, like you're having your own curated experience and look to it is honestly really important, I think.
Mm-hmm. And it does that really well. I mean, especially, and this is, I love Android as an operating system outside of this as well. And this is one of the great things about it. Like, you can set this up as the default program. So when you turn this thing off and you turn it back on, you see the Retroid logo and it immediately boots into the front end that you've installed. There's no indication that you are using Android. So that just makes it feel a little bit more premium to use. So yeah, those harder to run systems, I have had a really good experience with almost everything that I've tried to play. There's been a few things that weren't running perfectly. Burnout 3 on PlayStation 2 is a good example. And honestly, I'm not going to place, if it's got frequent frame drops or general glitchiness, I'm just not going to play it because that's not what I'm looking for out of this thing. Mm-hmm. But I've had it for a couple weeks and I found it really good and to have a lot of value. And I've also jacked up pretty much everything I've played to at least 720p and often 1080p without issue, and it looks great. I spent a whole pile of time as well, and this I could really go down the rabbit hole and get into the weeds on this, but there's kind of a default widescreen hack that you can use for most of these emulators, which is kind of shitty, and I went through the process of like finding like the optimized configuration files for I think there was a set of like 180 of the most popular GameCube games, loaded those all in. So most of that stuff plays in widescreen, mostly without issue, without getting a bunch of pop in on the sides and stuff like that. So that makes it a lot of fun too.
Yeah, there was I remember seeing an emulation of Shenmue, the original Dreamcast version, of someone made it 16:9, and the pop-in, boy, the stuff they used to hide on those margins. Steve, I'm telling you, it was it was wild. It was I didn't know. I mean, but honestly, it was cool to see because it's just a testament to how well they built, how well you had to optimize back then. You had to do that type of shit. So yeah.
Yeah, I tried before I went down that path because Dolphin and Aether SX2 both have the default widescreen hack, and you can click that button and then you can tell the screen to force to 16:9 and it will do it. But for one, again, that pop in, anything that is not in your center 4:3 aspect ratio isn't usually loading in, and it causes a bunch of issues. I really gave up on that on Wind Waker when you get into anywhere where there's that heat effect with steam or whatever coming up, because it will just glitch the fuck out of everything. And it will also take your overlaid UI and it will stretch that out. It won't make that maintain a 6 or a 4:3 aspect ratio, so that looks shitty.
Have you tried anything that is actually 16:9, like a Gran Turismo 4 or something like that?
Yeah, I've done Gran Turismo 4. I spent a little bit of time playing Bully, and that's got the default 16:9 mode, and that stuff works great, right? You can also set your emulator aspect ratio just to do auto, and if you play a game like that and you set the in-game settings to 16:9, it will just automatically do it, and it works perfect.
That's super cool.
So, yeah, there is always going to be a little bit of dicking around with this. So some games are just not compatible with different graphical backends. So typically you want to use Vulkan, but stuff like Mario Kart Double Dash will just not run on that. So you got to go in and set it to OpenGL. So there's a little bit of just learning to do that.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you want, the more you want to fuck around with it and try and accentuate what you're doing, it's going to take a bit of work to make it not janky. But I also wanted to note on the hardware side, the hardware works seamlessly for these emulators. I've had a great experience for this, and I would have expected it to be more janky. So in the sense of like 3DS, if you want to play something with touchscreen and motion controls, so I'm playing WarioWare Gold, that all works great. Tilt. I played a bit of Excite Truck, and then of course, you know, you don't want to like. There's a lot of asterisks with emulating Wii, but yeah, I played Excite Truck. Tilted worked just fine.
Did you run this on like Dolphin or like is it some other? Okay,
yeah. So Wii is on Dolphin, and then 3DS is on Citra. So yeah, we pretty much what you want to play is for the most part going to be restricted with like stuff that's compatible with Sideways, Wiimote, or Classic Controller compatible titles, unless you want to like go in and try and like configure something similar to how Nintendo like set up the Skyward Sword remaster. You can get to something like that, but you're gonna have to really want to do that.
I've noticed that on Steam Deck as well for older games that don't really have like great controller support. Like last night I was trying like Dynasty Warrior 7, and it's like to the point where it still has like press spacebar to get on your horse or press, whatever. Like it has like all the inputs are like for a keyboard, even though you're using a device. So it's like, you have to kind of keep mindful of that. Okay, it's not going to correspond to what you're pressing on your controller here. At the same time, it's like, yeah, it's good to have, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's good to have that kind of all those options because they let you map stuff like for some reason also Dynasty Warrior 7 didn't let me use the D-pad to do the menus. So I had to go into the Steam settings for that game and change it to make it mirror the joystick on the D-pad. It's something you can do in the Steam Deck. So I was like, okay, now it's just thinking it's the left stick. So now I can use the D-pad to do menus, It's little shit like that. I'm grateful for.
Even GameCube, I mean, GameCube is a funny one because your face buttons, right, are in such a like unique, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the shape of how the buttons are laid out. Unique orientation. So for the most part, like when I played Wind Waker, I played it with A map to A and B map to B, etc. But playing something like Tony Hawk, it's so ingrained in my brain that the bottom button is your ollie button and the top button is your grind button. And really, like, that works on the GameCube controller, but then moving that over to like your traditional A, B, X, Y Nintendo style, everything's like rotated a quarter turn. So I have like a special like Tony Hawk GameCube controller mapping set up. So stuff like that. It's nice that it's there, but it's a little bit of dicking around. I'm sick. I'm sick. Accessories. So one thing I really wanted with this, and I was a little bit disappointed. In my head, I was like, I can turn this into a Switch-like experience because it does have video out through the USB-C on the bottom. It is compatible with docks. I already have Bluetooth controllers. So if you want to run this on an external display, you can definitely do that. It's also got a mini HDMI port at the top if you want to just do 720. But it's just not as seamless as the Switch is. Of course it's not, but it's really not. For one, the dock that I bought has an issue where it will only output video if the power isn't connected at the time. If I put the power in after it's docked, then it will power it and output video. But if I dock it when the power is plugged in, I have to unplug the power and replug the power back in. So not ideal, because if I want to sit there and play something for 3 hours, I'm going to be draining the battery.
Okay, Kevin, this is where I need to step in and say, this is a lot of dicking around. Kevin, I mean, look, the most dicking around I've ever had the patience to do was when way back in the 2008 days when they finished the Mother 3 translation. I'm like, well, I want to play this on a real game, on real hardware, because emulators for GBA still aren't quite there yet. So I totally got a flash card and did. There was a lot of hoops making this translation in the ROM kiss, and then making that load on the flash card, and then making that go on, slamming that in my GB player to do the whole. I'm like, and you know what? That's a lot of effort for an RPG no one else is going to talk about for a while, guys. And I'm listening to you do all this for Wind Waker and Burnout. I'm like, oh, this is not a Steve activity for his free time.
I was honestly thinking about you when I mentioned the Steam Deck stuff earlier. It's like Steve would just throw this out the fucking window. Said it's verified and it doesn't work.
I want to tell the video game machine what game I want to play, and I want to play it. And then it loads. The end.
I totally get you.
Steve's got a really good point. And so to kind of go out of order, kind of one of the last things I was going to say in summary about this, but now is the time. If you want to get something like this, you need to have using this thing kind of to a degree be a hobby. You have to be able to enjoy tinkering with this kind of shit and setting it up, because again, if you just want something that you want to be able to play GameCube and PS2 on, and you're not, if all of this sounds like a pain in the ass, it's going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to run into stuff that you get stuck on and have problems with, and got to go in on YouTube and like try and figure out what you got to do with it. So it's a good point. For somebody like Steve, I would not suggest this device. It would not be a good time. Back to the dock as well. Here's another dicking around thing. And actually RetroArch is pretty good with this, but Dolphin specifically, like you have to go you can't have it unless I haven't figured out how to do it. I can't have it where it will like identify the Retroid controls on the device. But then when I connect a Bluetooth controller, have it be like, okay, a Bluetooth controller is hooked up. Now I'm going to use that. The Bluetooth controller will work for the hardware, but it will not play nice with Dolphin. So before I dock it, I have to go into the Dolphin settings, and I have to go into the controller profile, and now I have to say use the external Bluetooth controller that is connected, and then I have to dock it so that I can use that controller. So again, you want to use this on the TV, you can do it. If you want to take a couple minutes, and I for a day or so while I was waiting for my springs to come in Amazon when the trigger was broken, I did that, and it works really good. But this is not a Switch. You do not set it in here and it works. You got to figure out what to do with it and treat it like a little baby for a minute.
I do have a Steam Deck dock, by the way, so I will be trying that as well. And I hope it just kind of works better than what you're saying.
I would hope Valve would figure that out.
I think they're going to prioritize that again for something that is purpose built to play illegally downloaded games. I mean, I can only expect so much integration between these emulators and the hardware.
Yeah, it's just the nature of it.
Yeah. I want to bitch a little bit. Review-wise, pretty much everything I have seen on YouTube about this always feels the need to get into Switch emulation, and I don't fucking get it. First of all, Switch emulation on this thing sucks dicks. It's garbage. It'll run like maybe the most lightweight titles. I've seen people try and play shit like Odyssey, and it like kind of runs with severe performance issues. But regardless of this, I don't understand like just this community in general, why they feel the need to always like shoehorn like, how does it run Switch? How does it run Switch? So I have seen in some cases, and not with this in specific, but there's this idea of it's like, some people just can't afford a Switch and they shouldn't be locked out of content. On one hand, I'm
buy the $200
exactly. I'm sensitive to not everybody can afford everything, but this is a fucking frivolous $200 device. If you can buy that, you can buy fucking Switch games.
That's like the same thing you always heard back in the day about Napster. It's like, well, I can't afford this CD that's $16. Bro, you have a $2,000 PC that you're fucking downloading this shit onto. I don't fucking think so. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Like, be honest about what you're doing. That's all.
To be fair, in my LimeWire days, I was using my mom and dad's computer, and I really did not have enough money.
Well,
but
you were a child.
Yeah,
You were nine.
It's forgivable.
There's a difference.
And I think I feel like I need to clarify. This isn't like a corporate bootlicking thing. I like Nintendo when Nintendo is doing well, and I realize that the Switch emulation community is not a major threat to Nintendo. But hypothetically, if we got to a point where modern emulation was advanced enough to run like modern Nintendo games on cheap-ish hardware, that would be a pretty viable option for people. And I would rather us not even flirt with that. It just it does come down to a moral issue. I understand to a degree people do get enjoyment literally out of just being like, can this run, like, you know, just for like the emulation for emulation's sake. But I don't get it. And to be honest, I mentioned I'm playing WarioWare Gold. I personally slightly struggle with even doing 3DS emulation. I did go on a buying spree before they shut down the 3DS eShop. And I think I mentioned on the show even, it pisses me off when people are like, you know, the second Nintendo is like, hey, we're going to close the store in a year. And then everybody's like, well, we need to download every 3DS game ever and emulate it because Nintendo is fucking us. And it's like, come on. Like, they're giving you the chance to buy the shit. They're giving you the heads up. 10 years down the road, if you're like, damn, I missed out on that, I wanted to play it and I wish I had, fine, emulate it. But like, that was not a good response. So I think I guess all I'm saying is if somebody came to me and they were like, you know what, if you wanted to play WarioWare Gold, you should have fucking bought it because it was just available less than a year ago. And I wouldn't have a good response to that. You're right. So I'm kind of like morally trying to justify myself this by just not abusing it. I'm not wholeheartedly like diving into every piece of 3DS software that I was like halfway previously interested in, but I was too cheap to buy. And I'm okay with that. But the Switch thing, I don't fucking get it.
I think we're all in agreement here on that, right? I think we all use emulation for, I mean, like, Steve and I have a few things that we've been doing. We have like a Game Freak thing we've been doing. Yeah, like Pulseman appeared on Sega Genesis and Nintendo Switch Online recently, but when we conceived this project, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So we played it on a Genesis emulator. We don't have any choice, right? So like, we've been doing a lot of that kind of stuff recently. Like, we had a recent episode on Toshinden, and he had never played a Toshinden. So we like set up a PS1 emulator, and we did that stuff, right? Because I feel like it's important to play the games. Yeah, we're reviewing an anime, right? But it's like, you know, you want the games for context. But the point is, like, more, I don't want to say legitimate uses. Maybe that's not the right term. I mean, but I think I'm in agreement with you. Basically, I'm not out here abusing emulation. I really just like, I mean, shit. We just recorded an entire smorgasbord of content about Namco Museum on PS1. Where the hell am I going to get those outside of eBay for like $100 each? Right? I'm not doing it. So
we're not exactly reaching under Capcom's rug and getting early copies of Street Fighter 6 here.
Yeah, I don't take any joy in that kind of stuff. Again, it's not a corporate bootlicking thing. I just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, people make these games, and you know, people don't like to hear that because they always hear, "Oh, you're protecting the company." It's like, no, man, like, people get fired sometimes if games don't sell. I'm not saying it's on us to like, oh, we need to buy everything we can so nobody gets fired. I'm just saying that, like, people make these games, and I always respect that. That's all.
And I mean, I do personally, you know, to me, the older stuff is, the more it's excusable, especially if it's not accessible. Like GameCube stuff, I went through the entire list. I downloaded anything I was interested in. But to be honest, like 80% of those games, I've got the physical version here anyways. And I never feel bad. I spent enough money on GameCube when it was relevant. So I'm not, I feel okay with how I'm doing it.
I sure as hell spent enough money on Namco Museum when it was relevant. So, like, I'll tell you that much.
Lots of GameCube in my house too. So
yeah, we're good. We're good boys. So yeah, just a couple quick wrap-up thoughts. First of all, it is fucking crazy to me that we have items like this in modern day, and it shouldn't be. I mean, we're pretty used to the shit we have, but just to step back and reflect on this, I remember being in like grade 3 or 4, and this kid brought to school a handheld TV with like a pull-out antenna, and we couldn't even get any reception because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. But it blew my goddamn mind that this kid had a TV with like a 3-inch screen that he was holding in his hand. That was so fucking cool. And to know that like 25 years later, I would have a device that I can like play any like GameCube and PS2 and Wii game on. Like it's nuts that that's even a fucking thing.
That is crazy, man. I mean, I never actually saw one of these in person, but do you know how for the Hudson Soft made like a handheld version of the TurboGrafx CD, the Turbo Express? You guys know that had a TV tuner attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that advertised, and again, I've never actually seen one. I've never. I mean, and of course, I didn't know a single kid who had a Turbo Express because what the fuck, right?
Oh God, no.
Right, but if I had ever seen that in person, that would have blown my fucking head open. That would have been crazy. What, you're watching TV on basically a Game Boy? You know, like that's wild. Yeah, so I understand what you mean.
I know, but then if I told my 7-year-old daughter that's got like, you know, like 20 hours of Bluey downloaded on her fucking Samsung tablet about this 3-inch TV we couldn't get reception on, she'd be like, are you fucking stupid? Like, why is that even remotely interesting? You looked at fuzz on a 3-inch screen with a 2-foot antenna hanging out of it? Like, okay.
Yeah, dickhead. And she just goes back to her Bluey episode 17. Yeah.
Look, I was the jackass in high school that was happy with the Game Boy Advance. Like, look, I'm sort of playing Super Nintendo games. Yeah, they're not as good as they were, but they're with me here on the bus.
On the bus. Yeah, no, I did. That was a good. That's kind of good because, like, I remember that novelty at first. It's like, oh, I have Breath of Fire in my pocket or something like that, right? Like, I understand. I mean, there was a reason why they released Super Mario Advance, Super Mario Brothers 2, like it's the All-Stars version. Oh, look at this. Oh, it talks, right? Like, you know, it's a thing, right? So...
So yeah, again, like I told Steve, like if you aren't interested in the tinkering aspect of this, you're not going to have a good time. I really enjoy that stuff. It makes me it's just enjoyable, like getting this thing set up exactly how I want and like making sure the box art is right and like getting the consoles in the order I want and making sure everything is running correctly. And you know, I like tinkering with that. I also like the community aspect of it, despite just bitching about like the Switch emulation YouTube thing. There is a very...
They said they liked your hair.
Well, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt, but there's a really active scene around these kinds of devices, and there's a lot of people that are willing to put in time into like custom software that's free and helping other people. Like sometimes I look back and I think about back in the era of like free Flash games, and I feel like we've kind of lost that type of thing in favor of like free apps that have this like sense of like pursuing ad revenue for being free apps, as opposed to just the sense of like creating something for the love of it. And I get that out of this. I got a Miu Mini Plus, which is a much lower powered but somewhat to a degree similar device about half a year ago, and the same thing, I had spent a bunch of time getting like custom firmware that was made by the community and getting like custom user made themes that people are just uploading to GitHub. And so it's kind of like recaptured that feeling of people just like making Flash games and putting them on the internet because they wanted to make a game. So that feels really good. And yeah, I've had a great time with this thing.
That's the great thing, obviously, about Steam as well, because, like, again, I'm playing Dynasty Warrior 7 because someone in the community made, like, a thing. It's like, hey, let's map these controls to an Xbox 360 controller, which is how the Steam Deck reads anyway. Where people have figured it out, yeah, it says keyboard prompt still, but you can play it. And that's the good thing about Steam, because everyone fucking uses it, and a lot of people have Steam Decks, and a lot of people probably have guides. Again, I haven't looked into it yet for, like, emulation or setting up this or that, or even fixing stuff. Like I said earlier about Geometry Wars, I looked in the community forum for it, and there is a fix for it to work on. Apparently, this only happens on Steam Deck OLED. Basic bitch Steam Deck, it works. So, like, you know, I'm the one who's ass out of luck here. So, you know, yeah. So I'm.
What's the difference on a computer level?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That says nope, not on OLED.
I don't know, and that's probably why it says verified, because it works on the original Steam Deck.
This is kind of stupid, but in a way, I kind of romanticize like that idea of, you know, like it's still showing the keyboard prompts, but somebody has fixed it to work. Like there's something that's kind of special about like being able just being able to do that when it wasn't really designed to do it that way.
Right. And I like that Steam, like they don't make you download some sort of like configuration. It's just there. You know what I mean? Something from you just play the game and then it works, you know? And that's a great thing. Obviously, that's why I use Steam the most in like big picture mode, because it just makes shit work. Mm-hmm. Whereas like sometimes it doesn't. That's how me and Steve used one of the emulators. I couldn't get the controller to work right on one of them. I'm like, I launched it in Steam Big Picture and then it worked. I don't know what magic it did, but it worked. So let's just do it that way.
It was some of the Toshinden. Something wasn't playing right with that.
Yeah, it was that. All right, guys, before we go to break, I have some news that you might like. So for the Turbo Express, that TV tuner I mentioned earlier, it's called the Turbo Vision.
Of course it
was. I like it.
That is really, that's just great.
Imagine if it actually worked.
Well, it won't work now, but I mean, like,
back then?
Yeah, I mean, it probably did. All right, we'll be right back. We're back. Jack. That's not good, is it? Should I start over?
Nah. You're in too deep. Keep going.
Yeah. Well,
after we are your pals of the world, you can do whatever you want.
I stubbornly named that show that too. Just like, no, I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna. You should be lucky I don't name this "We Are Your Pals of the World" too. I might.
Now that you said it's a valid thing he could put in. Fuck.
Yep, I said it on the show. I can do it. Okay, let's get to our first big question. We expected a Nintendo Direct this week, and a Nintendo Direct did not happen this week. They did not announce Pilot Wings Wrestling, or whatever we were expecting.
Boo.
How would that work, by the way? Who would you pick? Nestor, right? You got to stick with Nestor.
Nah, he's too lightweight.
Hawk.
Yeah.
Hawk, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so the Nintendo Direct did not happen. I don't know, Kevin, why do you think it didn't happen? I'm kind of shocked that this did not happen this week.
I'm not going to tell you why it didn't happen, but I'm going to tell you not why it didn't happen. It didn't not happen because Nintendo was scheduling around the Microsoft announcement today. I've seen rumors floating around that they delayed due to the Microsoft announcement, and I'm not buying it. I feel like Nintendo Direct does not schedule around other companies. Other companies schedule around Nintendo Direct. That's my official position.
That's your official. That's so silly. Like, remember they said, oh, they can't have the Nintendo Direct due to the Queen or whatever. Remember that shit? Like,
I mean, but they were pimping a game called Tears of the Kingdom, so that one I kind of buy.
Tears of the United Kingdom?
Yeah. Like, that kind of checked out around that logic.
Oh my God, Steve, why do you think this didn't happen? I don't know. I'm shocked, honestly.
I'm shocked too, but if this Direct had a Microsoft game or two coming, and they were the ones to just drop, hey, we happen to have some Microsoft retail games in our lineup coming, the internet would have exploded.
Yeah, but I don't.
And
so what? You really think this is about Nintendo being able to announce like, oh, we're gonna have Sea of Thieves or something?
I think Microsoft may have requested that they get in front of it a little bit.
Okay.
I think that's
But
what happened.
Microsoft would have known if it was getting announced. They could have just released their fucking podcast on a Wednesday. Like, it doesn't matter what day the Microsoft podcast normally comes out. This episode that came out today got 4,000 million times the amount of listeners that the Xbox podcast gets.
I was going to
Did you know there was an Xbox podcast before this? Because I didn't know that existed.
I was going to say, no one heard of that until they said they were making it today.
Nobody knew that shit existed. even Jeff Gersman was like, today I learned there was an Xbox podcast. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
nobody knows about this shit.
Nobody's going to listen to it again for another like 2 years until Phil Spencer has to like address human trafficking allegations or something.
Oh,
Well, at
also
least, like-
Starfield is coming to PS5.
What's happening? We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Human trafficking is when Starfield comes to PS5.
Yes, that'll. Yeah, come on, man. That'll wipe it off the map, right? Kind of like when Blizzard was having all those allegations, and it's like Diablo 4, huh? You know, like that.
Oh God,
Same-
I love it.
Okay, I wish I could come up with a concrete answer outside of like, this is almost said this is an election year. I mean, it is. This is a hardware year, right? So they might be doing things a little differently. As we know, I mean, obviously this is because they didn't have any games. The Directs got a little wacky too in like 2016 and like, you know? So I feel like this is kind of the same thing. They're trying to position themselves for hardware, however they're doing that in their own special Nintendo way. That's the only thing I can come up with. Or it can be proven totally wrong. A Direct can happen per usual next week and business as usual. But my personal feeling is that this is hardware related. I don't see any reason why. I mean, look, they have Mario vs. Donkey Kong coming out basically today as this posts, you know, and like the Splatoon DLC coming out, next week, Steve? Splatoon 3 DLC?
Yeah, we're flying through to the end of the month. Yeah, that's soon.
Yeah. So I feel like they might want to get ahead of that, but who knows? I guess they're not. Though, Kevin, there was a couple of weird Switch 2 rumors, which I kind of buy. Honestly.
Yeah, fuck it. While we're here, let's talk about Nintendo anyways. January 26th, Bloomberg published an article indicating that the Switch successor would have an 8-inch LCD screen based on an indication from an analyst from Omdia, which is a global analyst and advisory firm. And this spread pretty quickly. This kind of caught wildfire. So obviously it's not confirmed, but it begs the question, what's the impact on the overall hardware design if this has an 8-inch screen? Like, how does that affect the concept of Joy-Cons and docking and all that shit?
It's a toughie, right? Like, as I've said during the previous segment, this Steam Deck OLED is 8 inches. Now, it doesn't have detachable controllers. It is an 8-inch screen, and it's fucking big, man. Like, we're past the days of like, here, have Nintendo in your pocket or whatever. That's like not a thing, you know, like we've been past that with the handheld market for a long time, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I buy this. I do buy that it's going to be LCD. I don't think they're making a premium OLED fucking system, you know, like this is kind of an offshoot of this. And I don't know if we talked about this yet on the show. Kevin, do you think this is going to be $400? Because I do. I'm feeling $400, Steve.
Man, I don't know. It's possible, but Nintendo usually tries to skew lower.
They try, but okay, let's say this is like, again, this is way oversimplifying, but let's say this is a handheld Xbox Series X. That's worth $400 in 2024, I would say.
You think it's got Series X juice?
No.
It's gotta for $400 if it's going to be LCD. It has to.
No. Like Series X level?
S.
Oh,
S.
okay. I'm gonna go with 369 American.
Ooh, okay. Steve, what's your Price is Right
300's
bid?
not happening.
Okay, what's your Price is Right bid for the I almost said Switch Series X for the Switch 2?
I'm gonna pick the not joke number of 350.
Okay,
I'm sorry, 349.
Okay, 349. I'm thinking 399.99 US dollars, guys. I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be $400 and it's gonna be worth it.
So what makes you think that, out of curiosity? Because I don't think the larger panel necessarily lends itself to like a wildly increased cost, because they're also like I think a lot of this just lends itself to them needing like more room for cooling systems and like all the shit that needs to fit in here. I feel like the 8-inch screen, if this is a thing, is not because they were looking to expand the size, but because they needed to be able to utilize the additional space.
I don't think I agree. I feel like this is going to be more powerful than people are thinking it's going to be. I feel like this is going to be a pretty capable system. Because they can't come out here releasing something that's like PS4 Pro-ish or something like that. That's not going to cut it. They got to do better than that.
I disagree. I think that that's where they should be aiming for, and I think for a portable system, that's fine.
I don't think that's good enough, Steve. I don't. I think you got to try to get at pretty close to Series S.
I mean, Series S would be ideal, but Nintendo, they like to, hold back on the hardware now that they've, been profitable on that twice now. So
yeah, but when this system comes out, the Series S will be 4 years old. Like that's enough time to like try to get that into like this kind of format. I think. I mean,
when the Switch was announced, where did you think before you knew what the power level on that looked like? Where did you think that would sit?
I thought that would be obviously better than Wii U, but not much. I kind of thought like, honestly, it came out exactly how I thought it would. If I'm going to be honest, it had the exact kind of power. It's better than a PS3 or 360 or whatever, obviously, but like that doesn't make porting easy because it's not by that much. But it's obviously better than Wii U as well.
If there was a half-gen refresh for PS3 and Xbox 360, that's where Switch would have landed.
I guess so. That's fair to say. I don't know. I think they're going to aim higher than that, though. I really do. I think this is going to be closer to Series S. Again, I don't think it's exactly going to reach that, but that's where I feel it's going. As for the Joy-Cons, though, I think it's going to be fine. I don't really think like that kind of hardware stuff is going to carry over, nor necessarily should it. That doesn't mean that they're going to ditch the Joy-Con idea. I just don't see them. Okay, look, if you have a Switch 2, you can use there's new Joy-Cons for it. Now that doesn't mean that you couldn't use old ones. It just means that you couldn't attach them to that system.
Joy-Con XL.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Similar form factor though?
Yeah. I don't think they should change a thing, or rather I should say I don't want them to change a thing. I think Joy-Cons are great still. I don't want that to change. I hope it doesn't.
I fucking love that we are in like legitimate like new Nintendo hardware. Like it's now is the time for us to come up with the bullshit. I love it.
I love it too.
God, please give us Hall Effect analog sticks. I've sent in so many fucking Joy-Cons for repair, and I never ever want to do it again. Please.
I hope so. I've burned through Joy-Cons as well. I just given up. I think I sent in my original pair, but after that I was like, fuck it, I'll just get new ones. Whatever.
I think I've sent in 5 or 6. I'm tired of it. Yeah.
How many has Steve sent in?
Only 2 pairs, but I have a few here, and I bought the Zelda ones, so that was just me buying another pair. I'm going to be the weird degenerate here and just say I really just want them to keep making Amiibo My wallet hates me every time I buy one, but I really just want them to keep making them.
You are a sick fuck. I gotta tell you. You are really
Sora
a sick
comes
fuck.
out today. Hooray. That's all the Smash Brothers. Everyone is here on my shelf.
All right, guys. We have to get to the Microsoft saga, as I put it. We have to. Let's just start at the beginning, okay? There's obviously a lot to talk about here. Let's just start here. Steve, I think it was 2 episodes ago where we first addressed those rumors. We heard about Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves coming to PS5 and Switch. I don't remember what we said on that episode, but we're like, yeah. And I think the only thing I said was, who the fuck cares about Sea of Thieves? I don't really think, I'm not saying it doesn't have an audience, but I don't think porting it around is going to do much.
I made a whole thing about how Nintendo fans were going to spin it into a whole, oh, look, Rare's back. And it was going to be a whole big deal in the news cycle for a while.
And I got pissed off at that scenario.
You did, but you know what's going to happen when it happens.
Oh my, I'm already mad, Kevin. I don't want to hear it. So shit really hit the fan, I would say about a week and a half ago, when I forget who, maybe it was The Verge, I don't remember who. Someone reported that Starfield was going to come to PS5 after the DLC hits, making it one like Game of the Year edition package. And then that begat Indiana Jones rumors, coming, a year after the Xbox release, they're going to have Indiana Jones on PS5. So The Verge nailed it down even further, again, by saying that the 4 games would be Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Sea of Thieves, and Pentiment, that Obsidian game. I don't know shit about Pentiment, which, okay, sounds reasonable, right? Also, we have to address this because I cackled all night. Rare Replay started trending on Twitter as soon as all this news was breaking, which is such an incredible indictment on everyone involved. Like, think about it. When people think, oh, Xbox is going third party or whatever, which is obviously not what's happening, the very first thing everyone wants is a collection of Rare games from 10 years ago on Xbox One. That is, if I were the Xbox team, that would make me feel more sad than anything. Like, that's just crazy to me.
Those are the people that should get a Retroid Pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, but to be clear, I would buy this. I would buy Rare Replay on Nintendo Switch too. Wouldn't you,
Me
Andre?
too. Yes, of course I would.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, I understand, but it's just the fact that that's stuck in everyone's mind. Ooh, we can finally play Rare Replay, not Halo Infinite, not like the new Gears game. Whatever. Rare Replay. That's just not Forza. It's just, it's hilarious.
So today they had the Business of Xbox presentation, but before that, I think this was also from Verge that had a tweet that Microsoft had reportedly told employees that it views every screen as an Xbox. Excuse me, where'd that come from? I know I'm old, but oh my God, that was like super 90s Bill Gates reedy as fuck, that line. Like, I couldn't imagine getting that memo in my inbox if I wasn't laid off from them yet.
We view every computer as a window into opportunity. Some shit. They had the Xbox quote unquote podcast today as we're recording this. You're going to hear this on Friday. And we can just free for all this wherever you guys want to begin. We can begin at the beginning. We can just pick out any quotes that we want to talk about, anything that was said or wasn't said. Who wants to begin? Steve, you want to start?
Well, look, I like to start at the beginning. We don't have to stay there, but just because Phil Spencer was like, okay, guys, you got us. There are 4 of our titles coming to other platforms. We're not going to tell you which ones they are right now. That's not our announcement to make at this time. And then the lady running the interviews now, are any of these games Starfield or Indiana Jones? No, of course they're not.
Yeah, right. Come on, guys. Whatever.
Yeah, maybe it's not one of those 4 games, but Jesus Christ.
I don't think after this, Starfield or Indiana Jones will hit anything else. Do you?
Yeah. Of course I do.
I don't know. They had too much of a blowout over this, and now that they had to like make a statement about it. I mean, I'm not saying other high profile games aren't going to other platforms. I don't think they'll be Starfield or Indiana Jones at this point.
Yeah, at this point, but what's coming? What's stopping them in like 2 years?
I don't. At this point, I don't think that will happen in the future. I certainly buy that Starfield, like there was discussions about that going on that triggered these rumors. I don't think that there was no legs to that. I just think like they had a fucking blowout over this, which in my opinion was not merited, but we'll get there.
Well, I don't know. Get what kind of blow? Why don't you get there right now? Honestly,
I mean, just I never really bought into this news cycle as it meaning that Microsoft was going third party, because that's where everybody took it. It seemed like it all got blown out of proportion. Specifically because we don't really have a precedent for a console manufacturer of this size buying up studios to the degree that Microsoft has been for years, right? I don't think it's surprising that they feel the need to continue to diversify, you know, what they're selling, where they're selling it somewhat, as they have been doing for a while to a degree, to kind of justify those major purchases.
Wouldn't you argue that Xbox has been selling in spite of itself to a degree? Like people just like the Xbox brand and like really just like whether it's their controllers or whatever, it can't really, maybe it really is Game Pass. Maybe 20, 30, 40 million people bought a Series X because of Game Pass. I don't know. But like, it seems like a lot. If you were to tell me the numbers, of course we don't know the numbers because they don't report them anymore. But let's say the reports are true that the PS5 is outselling them 3-1 or something. That means like 20
there was
million
news
people.
about that just earlier this week. It came out, and I don't know where it came from, but they said because PS5 is around 50, and it sounded like Xbox was at like 21 or 22 million. I just seen that a few days ago, and I don't know how legitimate that is. But if they've sold nearly half of what PlayStation 5 is, and they said today, I think they've got 35 million Game Pass subs, which is far more Series X or Series S consoles than they've sold. I mean, they're definitely making good money with that, right? We've always had a hard time understanding how that Game Pass model is really generating that much revenue, but obviously it is.
It is, of course. And I'm still surprised, but it is. And, Steve, I thought that was also funny that it felt like a series of clues. He said 4 games that have been out for more than a year. 2 of them are live service games. Like, it's like he was like, he really wanted to say what they were, but didn't. It's just like, okay, if you're going to give us that much information.
Colonel Mustard played one of these games in the ballroom.
I really want to tell you what the games are, but I was having lunch with Doug Bowser the other week, and he said not to.
Yeah, Scarlett was playing this on our ROG Ally in the gazebo or something with the candlestick. It's so weird. Okay, Steve is convinced that Matt Booty is not a real person because I don't think he thinks that's a real name. But I can assure you, this dude's name is Booty.
But it's like, come on. I feel like people have not gotten jobs over lesser names.
We've got Doug Bowser in Nintendo, and you're going to go after Matt Booty.
You're gonna
grow up.
That is a fake ass name you come up with when you're when you're going to the same place where we're going to the card table that's selling Pal World. Do I know you from somewhere? No, I'm Matt Booty, respectable citizen, and definitely not a cop.
Speaking of which, do you like how Sarah Bond was like, "Ooh, look at Pal World! What a rousing success of and great!" Oh my god, my eyes couldn't have rolled further back in my fucking head. Oh my god,
this might have not been the story, lady.
Yeah,
that was the biggest misstep of that entire interview, in my opinion. I mean, especially when your whole message is around empowering creators, then you're trotting out Pal World.
Yeah. I mean, what can we say? I mean, that we haven't already said, probably the episode before this. Also, do you like how she was basically there to bring presents? Everyone's getting the things getting a little down. Oh, by the way, here's Diablo 4 on Game Pass, like right here.
Oh my God, I didn't clue into that, but that was very her role, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. She was just there.
You guys want a new Xbox? It'll be really good.
Oh God. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just talk about that right now. We got it. I'm burning. Okay. So I think I wrote down the quote exactly. Okay.
I've got it. Oh.
Go ahead. No. Do it. Okay. You go ahead.
Yeah. So she spoke specifically about next gen, in quotes, delivering the largest hardware leap you will have ever seen in a console generation. That is a fucking tall order of piping hot soup.
She right before that she slipped in. Oh, by the way, there's some exciting stuff coming in hardware that we're going to share this holiday.
I feel like I would have picked some other pieces of good news to maybe slip in before we, jumped right to that. Maybe I would have slipped in Solar Jetman's on Nintendo Switch Online before we started making promises about whatever this new Super Xbox is.
Yeah, Banjo-Tooie available now on Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, she could have just done anything. Yo, man, like Kevin said, that is a tall order of hot. What did you call it? Hot piping soup?
Piping hot soup.
Yeah, dude, what? Look, I understand. We're in an age where, the console generations, the technology doesn't move as fast anymore, right? The difference between them is getting less and less, and that's fine. Of course, there's leaps, right? And we feel them and we notice them, but it's not like before the difference between a PS1 and a PS2 or something like that, right? But come on, Kevin, the biggest leap ever? Please.
Now, I need to get this out on air because I said it in the group chat earlier and you guys poo-pooed me, but I feel strongly about this. I strongly suspect this is a reference to incorporating AI into fundamentally into the next console generation, because that's the only thing I can think of that would tangibly even give them any grounds to be able to say that. I think this has got to have, this can't just be more power. This needs to be new technology to do something that can even come close to the largest hardware leap you've ever seen in a console generation. So I'm calling it now. You guys can poo-poo me, but I'll rub your nose in it when I'm right in 3 years.
Look, I don't think it's implausible, okay? I understand these things are going to be employed at the hardware level, right? And it's not going to look like it is now. Obviously, there's some real freaky shit in those videos you posted to us earlier. I mean, Jesus Christ, the Uncanny Valley is strong. It looks like Steve wants to hurt you, though, Kevin, so I'm going to let him speak now.
No.
No? Are you sure?
I don't want to hurt him, no.
You say
him
that.
In the face a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil Spencer.
No, I was only going to say, yeah, it could be AI, but I just don't see how much of a leap that's really going to be if they don't use it right. That almost sounds like it's going to be a gimmick that everyone's going to forget about in a year or two once they, I could just type shit in the computer.
I can see this being more of a thing, though, than remember everyone said cloud computing. Oh, we're going to have power in the cloud. So it's going to that's not happening. You know what I mean? As far as hardware goes. Right. So not to the degree that they thought it was going to. Right. So I think AI has much more of a chance of that happening, and a good way and a more ethical way, because it's going to be creators creating stuff for whatever this algorithm is in the hardware. And it's going to be based on that and not stealing stuff from people. But yeah, I don't know, Kevin. I don't see it. But yeah, the biggest leap ever, please, lady.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but let's go back to the very start of Fine Time. Do you guys remember we played that game where there was that very rudimentary AI that I plugged in video game titles to, and we played that game where you guys looked at them and we posted on Twitter and you tried to figure out what game it was. Those were more or less sludgy blurs of messy colors. To it, I mean, you guys could figure out the game most of the time, but a lot of it was like color and pattern recognition, and that was a couple years ago compared to where we are now. Like those videos that I shared today, I honestly if I seen those videos and you did not tell me that was made by AI, I would believe that was made by a movie studio. Honest
That guy on the cloud was like flipping pages vertically in his book when he was holding horizontally. Like I mean, but even saw
like
it.
okay, the cloud he was sitting on looked like it was like made of fucking cotton. I don't know.
That part did look good. It did.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's totally useless, but I still do see the artifacts. That's all I'm saying.
Just where we've come from in a couple years to where we could be when new hardware is coming out for a new console generation. I'm just saying, I absolutely buy that it's very plausible.
Steve, tell him he's wrong. I'm tired of telling him he's wrong.
Kevin, there was a response in that video by someone else advocating for how good it was of a cat like trying to touch their person or whatever that was supposed to be.
Oh yeah,
and it's like stroking the person. And it starts out like okay, but then the cat's front arm, paw really extends into another paw, and like out of this house. I don't need this shit in my. I know I'm not the cat person, but no. What's the appendage starts growing other appendages? No.
Steven, I'm not saying that they're implementing this next week into Xbox. I'm saying look at 2 years ago to look where we are now. Your initial retort to me was they used AI in the remaster or the reissue of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. So
that wasn't look, now that we're on the air, it wasn't meant to be a retort. I'm saying AI as used with a person supervising it every step of the way can be helpful, because if you've ever seen those original photos of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, they are a disaster. They used AI to up-res them in the most generous way you could put them to sort of make them look okay-ish. And that took a lot of work to do. And I do not have faith that people are going to put that much work into it once the novelty wears off. I don't.
Fine. Well, I'm just saying I'm going to be a real dickhole when I was right and you were wrong.
He's going to be such a fucking prick. You know it too. He's not going to shut the fuck up about this if he's correct about. We're gonna play.
I'm going to tell you guys we have a surprise game, and then it's just going to be inserting clips of this show and then mocking you.
I would seriously enjoy the hell out of that. That would be incredible. I'll put all the clips on the thing for you. You say, okay, you clip one, and you just laugh maniacally at us and call us a bunch of fucking assholes and shit. It'd be great.
Anyways, I'll shut the fuck up about AI now.
Okay, here's a takeaway quote from me from one Mr. Matt Booty. He said, and I quote, "It used to be that the platform was the biggest thing. Now it seems like the games are the biggest thing, with games such as Fortnite or Roblox being bigger than any one platform." Bro, that doesn't make any sense. Like, people bought Game Boys to play Tetris, man. Like, they bought it. They also bought that shit on NES. It didn't sell the NES because the NES was already established, but like, it made Tetris synonymous with Nintendo in a way that still honestly continues today. Like, people still think of, not that Nintendo makes it, but they still think of them together. And like, much how Xbox used to be synonymous with Call of Duty, right? But now that's gone away, even though you guys now own the company that makes Call of Duty. So I out of all the things that was said, Steve, I'm sorry, no.
Okay, for one, I took his comment as, well, Phil already said that great games don't sell consoles, so I can't say that, but I kind of believe they do, so I kind of need to make this bullshit up about it. So that's where that statement came from. That's where I'm sitting on that. The second one is a great way to start pointing out, oh God, who actually said this before I... Oh yeah, when Phil chimed back in, we're not concerned about this. We're one of the biggest publishers in the world. We're one of the biggest publishers for PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers for Switch. And now with Activision Blizzard, we're one of the largest publishers for mobile too. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, then why are you guys doing this? If you're one of the biggest publishers in the world, you're totally square, Why are we doing this then?
That comment I took as we own Minecraft. We own Minecraft, we own Minecraft, and we own Minecraft. Honestly.
And now we own Call of Duty. Right?
We own all the things you like, okay? Just hang on.
Oh my God. It just look, I understand. It's just a bunch of PR speak, but that drove me crazy. It's like, guys, you can't keep running away from the console. It has to, and Phil said it later, and I quote, "It's not about one device or games in service of a device, but rather the device that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and as popular as they possibly could be." Phil, yes, the fuck it is about one device, and it still is. It always will be. People buy that thing and they want to believe in that thing. It's like I just said to Kevin, like, do you think Xbox is selling in spite of itself sometimes? And the answer is yes. It doesn't even seem like with the way things are going, they should have even sold that many consoles. So yes, people like the Xbox brand. It is about your device. Like, I don't understand how he can say that.
I'm having a hard time reconciling this because I just think so much of it boils down to Game Pass. You know what I mean? Especially when I think we can absolutely say there's, based on what's come out, there are many more users of Game Pass than owners of the current Microsoft console generation.
Yeah. So I just don't... Steve, like, imagine Nintendo getting up there next month or whenever they're revealing their hardware. Well, it's not about the device, really. Yeah,
okay, if Nintendo did that, we'd laugh them the fuck out of there. We were talking about bullshit that these game people keep saying, and especially today, Phil Spencer felt of all days was the day to backtrack on one thing they brought up a decade ago. We are working to respect the investment of players in our games. Remember a decade ago, we were like, nah, we have a system for that. It's called the Xbox 360. What a fucking turnaround we have gone through on that.
I just, it's a losing strategy. And I know, like, these people are making billions of dollars. I'm just an asshole on a podcast, right? It's a way to never be first place. If that's what their goal is, to fit into this ecosystem, they will never get ahead like this. Maybe they don't care if they get ahead like this. I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't matter to them.
I think they do kind of care about it because he keeps talking about growth of the company. We had to let go. We had to make hard decisions of letting people go before. And he's talking about it like they're like Microsoft's this little startup. Oh, it was so sad. We had to let a whole bunch of people go, but it's, how hard it is. Microsoft's in its first year of business ever. We really should have thought this shit through.
It's disgusting, isn't it? It's kind of just,
it's horrible.
Please,
this is I don't know what this was supposed to be.
just talking about their, like I said, losing strategy. You know what really, really bothers me about this? Like, you get your entitlements on both Xbox and Windows, like, type of shit, crossplay and cross progression, like Sarah Bond said 1 million times. They keep assuming that's a feasible thing that everyone can just do. My PS5 can run Sea of Thieves. My mid-ass laptop sure can't. Like, so who gives a fuck if I can play everything on Windows or something? Like, I'm not going to do that. That matters to such a small amount of people. Like, how many people, like, if you can play Halo Infinite right now on Windows, why do you even have an Xbox Series X? You're just going to play there. Are you really going to be like, okay, now I'm going to play on my Series X. Okay, now I'm going to play on my PC again? I guess some people might do that.
Well, we're taking the fine time field trip to Kevin's house, and I'm really, really jonesing to play Halo, so I gotta log into Kevin's laptop and play some freaking Halo, or I'm gonna fucking lose my freaking shit.
Calm down, it's just Halo. You can go without Halo for a weekend, okay?
You're right, that one I'm going to argue
a
little bit because they are really pushing the streaming, and whether you think that's viable or not, people are using that. So I think just by being able to say on your mobile device, you can hook up a controller and keep on playing where you were on your console at home, there is legitimacy to it from that aspect.
I do agree with that. I'll give you that. I don't think that, again, I don't think that's like a huge market of people, but I think that's much more people than like, I'm going to continue playing Grounded on my like, on my 4090 on my fucking PC and then play it on Series S or something. I just don't really think that's a thing. Anyone out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see that as a boon. Sorry.
Yeah, not for the majority of consumers by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think.
Yeah. All right. Are we Xbox out? Do we have anything else, guys? You got speak now or forever hold your peace. Your Xbox peace.
I think I have one relatable, very fun quote for us to walk out on here from Ms. Bond here. When you're playing on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where the biggest games in the world are always gonna be.
Really, lady? Because like, look, I know you got a job to do and you're doing it really well, by the way. Like, but no,
just like, who's buying that?
Nobody. It's just, again, I know it's a bunch of PR speak. It's hardly a podcast. It's a bunch of prepared statements and PR bullshit and trying to make you feel good about their 2,000 layoffs or whatever, right? But like, man, please, like, that's just so silly, man. Anyway, I guess we can get into some conclusions about this real quick. Now, obviously, we know Microsoft isn't going third party, and I know like that was never on the table, at least not in my mind. I never bought those reports. I was stupid. But just as a thought experiment, right? What could Microsoft offer if they do go third party? What do you think? Like, would that actually work out for them? Considering, Kevin, you talked about the way they've been buying up studios and stuff like that, and the stuff they have coming in the future. Because if you remember that, their presentation around Summer Games Fest was actually really good. I think all three of us were impressed with it, you know? So they have stuff coming in the pipeline, but it's just not right now.
Yeah, maybe I'm not necessarily answering your question. I think they could definitely make a very viable business of it. I mean, Activision Blizzard made a very viable business of it, right? So by that virtue, they can offer that and a lot more. However, I don't think it would be good for the consumer in the long run. I'm always the one that brings up arrogant Sony, but that makes me nervous. Just the idea of Sony running free with no competition, specifically in the high-end console space. I don't think that's good for anybody. We think about the initial PS4 showing right after Microsoft flubbed with locking games to an account, and Sony made the dig about here's how to share games and just hand them off to your friend. That's gone. That would be Sony. What would Sony's what would their initiative be to work it be doing anything consumer friendly? It would be gone. So I think Microsoft fills a really critical role just specifically in keeping Sony on their toes, even if you have no interest in playing Xbox. I guess just in retrospect as well for this podcast, generally, I think they achieved what they needed to do with the messaging just by demonstrating that there were a lot of things getting blown out of proportion in the last week, that there was no foundation for as far as them going third party, right? We don't know exactly what it looks like moving forward, but it's not what people were making it out to be over the last week.
Yeah, I never bought into the super crazy stuff. I mean, I thought it was funny, Steve, but I never thought that it was going to be like, oh, yes, they are definitely Xbox is dead or whatever the people were doing.
No, that was never going to happen. They would always be Xbox out there. I mean, even exclusives for a time, even if it's going to take less and less time, I absolutely believe Starfield and Indiana Jones. I don't believe all the uneasy laughing about it at the beginning of today's show regarding those two in particular. But I mean, it's already more than those 4 games that we don't know about but totally do. By the way, you like how everyone on social media just said those 4 games as a matter of fact, even though they did not say what those games were on the
I mean, please. So he gave us all the clues,
I gave
2
you
live
all
service.
the clues.
More than a year old. I mean, come on. I mean, their portfolio right now isn't really that big. I think we can figure it out.
We already know Call of Duty's coming out of everything for the foreseeable future. I'm sure more Rareware's coming to whatever in the certain Nintendo apps. I mean, this was never gonna happen all at once. It's just gonna be gradual, and it's what's this going to be like? It's going to be fairly ordinary looking for now. That's what it's going to be.
As for like, yeah, could they go third party? I think that's like a better question for like 15 years ago when they had like, when like Halo was still really hot shit or whatever, or like they don't really have that kind of like power right now. So it's just like, another Gears isn't going to hit like it used to. I mean, it'll do something. But like, again, like last year we saw a smattering of really cool stuff. That Clockwork Revolution, right? Or like that guy, what was that one? The stop motion, the guy was playing guitar in the swamp, and then the girl comes. Yeah, remember that one? Whatever the hell that was.
Oh, that's not going to be on Xbox forever for a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, yeah. So like if they were to actually just be a publisher, yeah, they could probably do good for themselves in the next few years. But let me just say this as just my conclusion about all this. If you guys can remember back to our previous creative endeavor, I'm sorry, as much as we don't want to sometimes, but we have to. Think back about like 3 years ago when Microsoft bought Bethesda and the show we had then. And the question I kept posing to you guys back then was, can you guys envision a world where Elder Scrolls 6 is not on PS5? Because I couldn't, and I still can't. Can you picture Fallout 5 literally just being exclusive to Xbox? I can't do it. So like that's something that's stuck in my mind. Obviously, this continued to Activision Blizzard. There was no way that like Call of Duty or whatever wasn't going to be on PlayStation still or whatever. It doesn't matter who they bought. That would make no sense, right? Financially or otherwise. So as we go forward with Xbox, feeling out other platforms, I keep thinking about that kind of stuff, Kevin, and I just keep coming back to it. Like, I just don't see that world coming to pass.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Call of Duty, that definitely never was going to, especially with all the antitrust conversations that were going on. Elder Scrolls and Fallout, I think it is possibly feasible, but I think it is much, much, much more likely that those wind up being like 1 year exclusivity on Xbox. They dance around it and then, they come out elsewhere.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, Steve. I just don't see that world for Microsoft, and I never have.
I mean, I think Phil pretty much said it outright. We're just going to look at it on a case-by-case business. Is this a thing we should sell on everything else? And I think that answer is going to be yes for many things as we go along.
Yeah. Also, look, I'm talking ancient history here, but there's a little bit of precedent for this. I mean, Sega used to publish games on TurboGrafx 16, Hudson Soft put Bonk everywhere. Is Steve affectionately wants a collection called Bunch of Bonk. Is it still Bunch of Bonk? Or
I called it the Bonk Box for a time, but Bunch of Bonk would make more sense in a digital distribution platform. Yeah,
like that's a thing. Bonk was everywhere, and then look, those are just a few games, but it's like you can play Fantasy Zone on TurboGrafx 16 or Space Harrier. It wasn't like unheard of. So
Sega had a handful of Famicom games. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So, there's a bit of precedent for this. Again, that's like really old stuff, but it's not wild for Microsoft to be doing this, and it is a smart move. So I guess, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of all. I'm Microsoft out. Guys, got any closing statements on this, Kevin?
I think that's it for me, man.
Okay, Steve?
That's a good stopping point, other than, I should probably play that second Ori game soon. I wonder, who made that one again? I can't be bothered to remember.
I just got that on the Steam Deck. I figured that'd be a great OLED test, the first Ori, so I'm definitely going to give that a go.
It's a pretty game. I'm sure it's great in OLED.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
Fine time.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that Kevin was talking about arrogant Sony, because just yesterday on the 14th, Valentine's Day, the Sony PlayStation quarterly results dropped, and in addition to them asserting that the PlayStation 5 is halfway done with the life cycle, they also said no major first-party titles are scheduled until 2025.
Oof.
I feel like I can't help but feel it's a little bit tied to Microsoft news. I mean, I'm not going to pretend all this happens overnight because, wheels turn slowly but constantly, but still, I just feel the timing is a little convenient.
I don't think this has anything to do with the Microsoft news, but it's just something we've talked about in general, and especially since the Insomniac leaks. It's that AAA is just unfucking sustainable. We just can't keep going on like this. Games take way too long to make and too much money to make, and they just won't rein themselves in. And that's why they have no games for a calendar year, basically, of a system that's selling like hotcakes. And like, shit, maybe Kevin's right. This feels like arrogant Sony. It really does, because like they begin this journey, this PlayStation journey, with stuff like Jumping Flash and Arc the Lad and like Ape Escape. Oh wait, hey, did I just mention a bunch of Japanese games? You bet your fucking ass I did. And outside of like Gran Turismo, they don't really do those anymore. And there's so many, like, Kevin, there's only so many like Horizons and God of Wars and games we love, by the way, and Spider-Mans that you can make before it's like, how you just can't put that stuff out every year. And they're showing it right now.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I'm not that worried about the upcoming schedule. The last state of play, what we've seen for the foreseeable future is relatively well-rounded. And they did specify that comment to no new major existing franchise titles in the next fiscal year. So I don't think it necessarily precludes some surprises outside of existing franchises. For me, in recent memory, when I think about arrogant Sony, I'm more worried about like the release of the PlayStation Portal, because that seemed very tone deaf. Although that being said, that seems to have been selling fairly well as well. So what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, like for $200, and for people like, yeah, I could play, Dead Space in bed while my children don't bother me, said Kevin. Like it could be a boon for somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a bit irresponsible to just phrase it that way, even looking into the full quote. Because looking at that last thing, the only thing Sony's got in the pipeline officially is what? Until Dawn with graphics on PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
I know they threw money at Stellar Blade, but could you imagine if Nintendo came out with a direct and said, oh, by the way, we have no first-party titles for the rest of the year?
People would lose. Oh, my God. People would go insane. I can't even imagine.
We'd laugh at them.
I mean, we kind of did that at the end of Wii U. They just didn't tell us.
Yeah.
We did. 2016 was a disaster. And I know we don't do that because third parties carry consoles, Steven. Yeah, I know. But how is that really going? Remember Microsoft and all their screens that we just talked about a few minutes ago? I mean, I don't know. This isn't looking like a great year for anybody today.
You know what that screen comment reminded me of? That all the screens are Xbox screens. At the beginning of Mass Effect Andromeda, there's like some robot that talks to you, that greets you to this like ruined place, but still a trippy robot. And it's like, welcome to blah, 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 where the biggest star in the galaxy is you. It's like, shut up. That's so fucking sappy. Leave me alone.
Thought you were going to bring up the Apple ad from a million years ago.
Oh, no. We can't talk about that. We got one more short-ish segment before we get out of here. We got to do Place Your Bets. We put it off last time. We just didn't have time. We are definitely squeezing that in right now because I want to see how my portfolio has grown or shrunken. And I want to know if Steve has to play, what are we going to play? Balan Wonderworld or whatever? So
it better be. I got the disc for it right here.
Okay.
Luckily, Steve has got another month and a half until he's definitely going to be condemned to Balin. He's okay. I'll give you a quick recap of where we're at right now. So Andre is sitting pretty with the nice $1,200. Kevin is sitting at $775, and Steve has $50. So as soon as Steve loses $50, he's playing Balin. So let's recap the bets that closed at the end of December. And there's going to be a little bit of arguing on this one, I think. Steve is in the clear because I gave him Lies of P scores over 92% on Metacritic. And I honestly thought that had a good chance of happening, but he didn't bite. Lies of P is sitting at a Metascore of 80. So good choice, Steve. Draw. Andre had Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 remaster scores under 60% on Metacritic. And I gave him 2-1 odds. He put $50 on that. And right now, Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster is sitting at 79 on Metacritic.
Much higher than I thought it'd be. Yeah.
Is a lose.
Yes.
Okay. Kevin had Sea of Stars scores over 90% on Metacritic. Okay, here's the deal, guys. Sea of Stars on PC is at 87, on PS5 is at 87, on Xbox is at 89, and on Nintendo Switch is on 91.
I would say averages, right?
Yeah, average. It's under 90. I think that's the fairest way to do it.
Oh, but I mean,
Sea of Stars is not exclusive to Nintendo Switch.
let me try and find a way to spin this in my favor.
Of course.
If it were, you know what?
I wanted to argue, what if there is way more Nintendo Switch reviews than the other platforms? Unfortunately, it tells you how many reviews there are, and PC has 51 and Switch has 18. So,
yeah, I think they sent out PC codes for this game. So
because I put $200 on this on 4-1 odds, so I was going to pitch to you guys. We just call it even.
No, God, we gotta do averages on this. I feel like that's the only fair way to do it.
Cheap.
Come on, man.
You
It's
guys are
like,
pricks.
look,
Are you kidding? I've been flinging my money way too much to be called cheap.
I would give it to you if it were I would give it to you if it were like a Switch timed exclusive or something like that. Then I would say, yeah, sure. I think I would count that. But it came out on everything, especially like PlayStation Plus and whatever. It's like I just can't.
I think the Switch version might have been the first one to have Gerard the Completionist patched out. Does that count for anything?
No, I don't think it does.
Oh, okay.
No,
All right,
I don't think so.
Man, you think that added or removed points at the end?
I mean, whatever works best in my favor to not lose $200.
Look, man, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to take the L on this one. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got to do averages, Steve. I feel like we gotta. I understand you're the place your bets roast master, but we have to overrule you on this one.
Yeah, I got fucked. Okay, fine. I'll lose my $200. So current outstanding bets that resolve at the end of March. Steve has Forspoken winds up free on PlayStation Plus at any tier. Steve admirably put $51 on it at 3-1 odds, just to be clear that if he loses, that he is going to be playing Balin. Andre put $50 on 5-1 odds that the Quest 64 account gets some sort of suspension from Blue Sky, including a temporary suspension. And I had suggested that it was possible a modern Sonic Advance collection be announced. You guys gave me 10-1 odds for that, so I dropped $75 just in case. We'll find out.
I would love to be wrong on that one. As far as Quest 64, I did preview for people who listen to the show regularly. I interviewed him. We are going to talk about Quest 64 together next month, so look forward to that. And yes, on that show, I did bring up Place Your Bets, and I did say, hey, I have a bet that you might get banned. He gave me good odds, so I had to throw a little bit of money on it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I did mention it to him, so he could throw a few other little Mario Goatsies out there and maybe throw me some fake dollars on Fine Time.
Yeah, see, Andre's kind of rigging the game a little bit here, which seems unreasonable. But to give listeners a little bit of like flavor about what we're talking about, just 4 hours ago, the Quest 64 official Twitter account had a meme that says, "Is the cure to male loneliness?" and then edited in "smoking crack with prostitutes at Motel 6?" ? Which I thought was pretty. I thought that was delightful.
I mean, it might be. Don't knock it till you tried it. Huh?
So
Yeah.
that's what we're working with here. So end of June, we've got 3 new bets that can take place prior to then. So Steven, starting with you, I've given you 3-1 odds on this one. Tommy Tallarico is involved in some sort of public scandal, whether it's something new or something that just came to light.
Ooh.
He's been really lying low lately.
Yeah.
Lots of people are throwing him under the bus for maybe not writing all the music that he said he's written over the years lately. So,
but that's kind of been ongoing for a while. Like,
I don't know how much lower this could really go beyond was found dead out in his Ferrari outside his apartment.
I don't know, man. Look, I ain't going to influence you. I know you don't have any money right now. You're almost in Balan Wonderworld territory, but I'd bet on this one.
It's got to be about time that we start finding out where all that money that was used to develop the Amico actually went, is it not?
Yeah, especially since there is the Amico app that you can go on the Google Play Store, and you're all aware of this, right? That they made the console into an app, and you still have to bring your own controllers and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I'll throw another $50 of pretend money at this that I don't have at the moment.
Shit, I would have gone 100. I feel I would have gone 100. I feel like this is good.
I would have if I actually had money in my account right now, but technically I don't.
Well, once you beat Balan Wonderworld, you get a fresh 1,000 fake dollars, and it'll cover it.
Or Sony could be more forthcoming with what was coming at this month, and I could already be up some money. But then, because usually they tell me what's going into Plus Premium with cheese this month, but they haven't yet.
They really have not.
As soon as I get off, as soon as we stop recording, we're going to go on. I was like, look at Forspoken, huh?
It feels like it's time, right? It feels like it's time.
They were selling that shit for $10 at Christmas.
I mean, come on, guys, put it.
I thought that was kind of a gimme to extend an olive branch to Steve since he wasted all of his money.
Yes, they're big place your bets fans on Fine Time. Yeah.
That was the gimme. That was the gimme. Then what was? Oh, Lies of P is going to be Game of the Year according to all the critics.
That's the kind of thing they slop knob, though. You know, so you never really know.
So.
All right. Well, Steve has got the chance to win another $150. So TBD. Today maybe colors Andre's a little bit. I had pro models of either the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X are announced before end of June. And I gave you 3-1 odds for that.
I don't see it. I do not think this is happening, man. I don't think we're getting a mid-gen refresh.
Period.
Oh. So yeah, I can't bet on this one. No, I got to stay away. Usually I might throw a courtesy $50 if I feel like it might be true. I am like so confident this isn't happening.
See, in your shoes, right. I might have, but then after yesterday's news, I'd be in your place saying, "Nah."
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Yeah, I gotta stay away from that one. I really think no mid-gen refreshes at all.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. We'll leave that one as a pass. Okay. I feel like I set mine up as a little bit of a lot of a Hail Mary. So I'm expecting you guys to give me generous odds. I don't know if I'm even going to bet on this, but there's legitimate news or rumors, but what that we would consider to be legitimate, that Sony attempts to purchase Square Enix.
Oh. Square Square had the chance to buy. I'm sorry, Sony had the chance to buy Square a while ago, and they didn't.
That doesn't mean.
That just seems like that would be the move in response to the Activision Blizzard thing.
They had a big wad of Square forever. If that was the time to buy it was like 5 years ago when they were forced to let it go of it, not now.
But they're still BFFs, you know, like they're still. Yeah. Man, that's a toughie.
Because you might recall from, Spirits Within failing, the greatest movie of all time. Everything that happened after that.
What do you want to give him for this? I really don't know. I'm leaning towards this not being really a thing right now.
I don't like it. I don't believe in it either. On a serious level, no.
5-1? Let's give him 5-1 because I'm not feeling it.
I'm not either. 5-1.
5-1, Kevin.
Okay, 5-1.
How much money do you have again?
Now after you guys stole my $200 from me, I have $575. If you guys would have gave me 10-1 odds on that, I maybe would have been feeling a little bit sassier.
Okay.
I'm gonna put $25 on it.
Okay, yeah, you may as well throw something. Yeah,
just in case. Boy, if that does happen though, I'm gonna bitch about it for like 12 years.
Okay, sorry we stole your 200 fake dollars. I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's recap.
Yeah, so Andre is sitting at 1150 right now. Steve is sitting at 50, and I'm sitting at 575. So again, by the end of March, Steve has $51 on Forspoken winding up free on PlayStation Plus at some tier at 3-1 odds. Andre's got the Quest 64 suspension at $50 for 5-1 odds, and I've got the Sonic Advance Collection for $75 on 10-1 odds. And then at the end of June, Andre's got no bets from Andre. Steve has the Tommy Tallarico Public Scandal for $50 at 3-1, and I've got 25 at 5-1 for the Sony Square Enix purchase.
All right, let's see what happens here. I mean, I want to be wrong about the
the Sonic Advance Collection release.
Yeah. Sonic Advance. I
would announcement.
Right. I want to be wrong about that. So, like, I hope you hit that one. Although I do not think that's happening at all. But I would again like to be wrong. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. That was a jam-packed show. That was a lot of good discussion. Follow us on Twitter at Fine Time Podcast. Look in the description of this podcast to find our names on Blue Sky. See you next time. Bye.